Hi, welcome to Disruptive Conversations with me, Dr. Risa Ryger, in which we deep dive with entrepreneurs, thought leaders, influencers, authors, educators, to find out about the experiences these women have needed to navigate and conquer in order to achieve their personal and professional success. So as I said, I'm Dr. Risa Ryger. I'm clinical psychologist and expert in change. I help people make positive change in their lives. Now, you can't have positive change without disruption. You need to disrupt a thought, a feeling, a belief, a habit in order to create your 10.0 life. And that's what this series of conversations is all about. Now, today, it's you and me. And when I started the Instagram Live, I started immediately with guests and didn't have a chance to just spend some time for us to spend time together. And that's what we're doing today. So, Shirar, thanks so much to be on. And we're going to be having some other people come on as well. And to start out with, what is disruption about? Why is that happening? And why is it that positive change can happen? So I'm going to start in right here about why do I say that positive change can happen at any point in time? So, there are people who think, I'm too far along in my life and I'm not going to be able to make change. I missed the boat. I can't expect that to happen. And sometimes people can give up on themselves. That's not necessary. And that positive change can happen at any point in your life. We are built for change. And so change involves being determined, being thoughtful, bringing awareness, and never underestimating the power of awareness, because you can't change what you're not aware of. So the first piece is to understand that there's something that you would like, there's something that's not sitting right with you, something that you want to have be different. And the first way to get there is by acknowledging that. So one of the things that needed to happen with me in terms of disruption, and the question that I ask everyone, and I'm going to be asking myself to share with you, because we don't wake up in the morning and everything is in place for us. That's not how it goes. We wake up in the morning and we have to make decisions about what we're going to do, how we're going to show up, and what we take with ourselves into that journey. So I'm remembering that I was going to an event and I was speaking with one of the people who was up and announcing this huge show, this huge conversation and symposium. And they asked me something, or we were just chatting, and he was sharing some ideas with me. And I said, I think about it a little bit differently. And I shared some thoughts with him just off the cuff, like no big deal, nothing I studied, nothing I worked on, but just off the cuff, shared some thoughts with him about how I saw it. And what happened was he said, wait a minute. And he sat down, he said, what did you say again? And he starts writing down what I'm saying. And this was, I thought, well, wow, that's kind of interesting. And then I have another conversation with someone who's head of a nonprofit and was telling me about what had happened. And I said, well, what I'm hearing is that it was about literacy and reading to babies. And I said, I'm hearing this is a fantastic program. And what I'm hearing about this, that my thinking is that, you need to give more recognition and really put the spotlight on the moms who are involved in this program. And she said, what a great idea, and starts writing this down and sent me photographs of how they implemented it. And what I realized that I needed to disrupt in myself was that the ideas that I was having were not just throwaways, that they were really valuable to other people. And I needed to rethink that for myself. And that, and that for all of us who've been working in our areas for a while, or we've done other things and now we're making changes, that it's not at the moment what you have, but you are the total of the work experiences that you've had, your studies, your immersions, your life experiences. And it helps form a way that you think and conceptualize or show up and act and behave and implement. And that has tremendous value. So there may be aspects of yourself that you're valuing, but there may be important aspects of yourself that you're not valuing. And what I came to realize for me was that what I was talking about, which was kind of off the cuff for that moment, was a sum total of all the experience and training I had had to be able to make this type of suggestion or share a thought. So think about yourself, and this is something I've done with people I've worked with a lot, is that think about yourself, because there are aspects of you that you may not be giving adequate value to. And think that through, make those changes. Can be so important in how you go forward and value yourself. And as a function of doing that, it increased my confidence and my sense of commitment to bringing value to others and helping others make changes in their lives as well. Like this was one situation that happened. And so that's one question. And the other question I want to go back to is that, people have asked me, well, what does that mean to make positive change? And positive change is there for every one of us. Now, positive change doesn't happen all at once. So start somewhere. As soon as you start making a change, the other thing that you're doing is that you're setting your brain up to be able to embrace change in a more accepting and easier fashion. That once you start making change and you see that change is possible, then when the next change happens, you can say, wait a minute, I did this before, I did this at this time, I did this at this other time, and I can make this happen. And it's particularly important when we're looking at beliefs that are just old beliefs and we haven't updated these beliefs about ourselves. So important that we're able to do that. And what am I currently disrupting? So that's a question that I ask other people also. So what I'm currently disrupting is I'm disrupting the idea that I hadn't written a book. I'm in the process of writing a book and writing a book on the process of my disruptive self-ownership concept, and that we need to own all of who we are and be able to live in those spaces, shine light in the areas that are both our spaces of value and our spaces of discomfort, and the places where we just go, oh, I would rather that not be, but it is. And when we're able to do that, not only can we do that for ourselves and really feel more courageous in ourselves because we're looking at what is uncomfortable, but we're also able to bring that out to others. So when you think about it, and I think this is an important piece also, that this is a piece of takeaway, that when you make change in yourself, you become the pebble. You become the pebble in the water. And your change affects those people around you, makes important changes for them. That helps other people. And that you can never know what the effects are of the energy, the compassion, the honesty that you bring forward, and what the impact that will have for others. And now, particularly at this time of mental health, and May is Mental Health Month, but by the way, every month is Mental Health Month. And that mental health is an incredibly important part of our mental wellness. So that when you're acknowledging something in yourself that you feel you can do better with, want to do better with, want to make a change with, and then you find your one moment of start, that one step that you can take, it can be the beginnings of changing everything. So another question that I got was, what do I do to help steady myself? Because there are times that we're feeling uncomfortable, we're feeling pressured, and what I find steadfast, true, over and over again. And hi, Gag and Sat, 1403, thanks for joining. Ebasan, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here today. Is that the breathing is your anchor. And people can say, it's not such a big deal, breathe all the time. But intentional breathing can help bring you to a place of integration in yourself where you feel like all your gears are working together. And one of the ways that we do that, and I call it Dr. Ryger's 4 + 4 = 8 equation, is that you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, and you breathe out slowly as if you're breathing through a straw for 8. And you need to do that a few times, because as you shift in your autonomic nervous system, so here we have a little bit of neuroscience, as we shift into our autonomic nervous system and going from more sympathetic, which is being ready for the onslaught, to more of a space of well-being and safety, that you are resetting yourself to be able to embrace, to be able to take in information, to be able to be in the space of integration with yourself that helps you be ready for everything else that's coming your way. You can do it anytime. There is nothing remarkable about it. You can do it on your way to getting coffee, on your way in an elevator, if you're playing sports, if you're golfing or playing tennis, whatever it is, that if you do your breath right beforehand, it will help get you ready to meet the moment. And that's what all of life is about, isn't it? It's all about meeting the moment and how you show up for that moment in time. So one more thing that I'm going to talk about, and people ask me this, well, how do you get through a day? Well, a day has all sorts of components to it. And so we have upsides of our day, we have difficult aspects of our day, but in each and every day, don't look for your neon signs, don't look for your flashing lights. Find your one moment of contentment, find your one moment of joy, find your one moment of connection. And whether it's connecting within yourself, with another person, in nature, that we are not in isolation. So maximize connection. It's a space of well-being, and that's something that you can do every single day. And to acknowledge, we acknowledge our struggles, and we also need to acknowledge our joys and make sure that we don't let it go by. So another question that I'm asked is, well, how do I work with you? And I get that question all the time. So, Dr. Ryger, how do I work with you? So if that's something that you're interested in, please DM me and I will get back to you and we can see, how that gets figured out, because there are many different ways for that to happen. Always happy to speak, always happy to do workshops, and so just DM me and we can certainly go from there. Hi, thanks so much for joining. Faze, Creator, Vada Jablin joined, Ellendon 13. If I'm mispronouncing, I apologize in advance. And in our time together here, this is the time that you can also reflect for yourself, because one thing that's so important is in being inspired is important, being motivated is important, being connected with your aspiration is important. All of these pieces are so important. And here is where I invite you to take your moment, which is, what is one thing that you can do today, the one thing that you can do to help move you forward just that little bit. Commit to yourself to do the doable. Think about it right now. Write it down. Say it out loud. And commit to yourself to do that. So in our last few minutes together, I have great guests next week, and we'll be publicizing that. So if you haven't followed me, please do follow me. Tell your friends. And there's always information that I'm dropping. I make videos. I put that up to be of service, to be of help, to help you make positive change, to you, for you to help disrupt and make the changes that you want to see happen in your life, for yourself, for people you love. Because when you make that shift, when you commit to yourself in certain kinds of ways, it only helps everyone around you to make change as well, and to get that energy from you. So as we're ending up for today, remember that positive change can happen at any point. It is never too late. Never give up on yourself. Not because that is just, an affirmation, but because it's true. And that's the truth of where things are. There's no reason to give up on yourself. That you never know what will happen. That's my family's big motto, is that you never know. Be open. And I guess I'm going to leave you with one more thing. Actually, I'm going to leave you with one more thing, is that in this next week, before my next Instagram Live, be aware of, make a commitment to yourself of one thing that you might say, I don't feel like it, I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to do it. One thing that instead of saying no and sitting back, that you say yes and you step forward. So wishing everyone a great weekend. Can't wait to see you next time. And remember, positive change can happen at any point.